There are over 2 million active stores on Shopify. They sell clothing, furniture, electronics, handmade goods, digital products, and thousands of other things. Each one has its own brand, its own domain, its own customer relationships, and its own inventory. None of it belongs to Shopify. Shopify does not sell a single product through any of those stores. It does not hold any inventory, process any returns, or employ any of the people running those businesses. And yet, Shopify generates billions of dollars in revenue every year from every one of them, through a business model that is worth understanding clearly, because it represents one of the most refined versions of infrastructure as a service ever built for small business commerce. This is the story of how Shopify makes money by giving merchants the tools to build businesses and then collecting revenue from those businesses at nearly every point in their operation. To understand Shopify's model, you need to understand the problem it was built to solve. Before platforms like Shopify existed, launching an online store required either significant technical knowledge or significant money, sometimes both. A merchant who wanted to sell online needed to build or commission a website, integrate a payment processor, manage hosting, handle security, build checkout flows, and maintain all of it continuously as technology changed. This was a serious barrier for small businesses and independent sellers who had products to sell, but not the technical resources to build the infrastructure to sell them online. Shopify solved this by packaging all of that infrastructure into a single subscription service. For a monthly fee, a merchant gets a fully functional online store, a customizable storefront, a product catalog system, an inventory manager, a checkout process, payment processing, shipping integrations, and a back-end dashboard for managing all of it. The merchant does not need to understand how any of the underlying technology works. They simply use the tools Shopify has built and focus on running their business. The merchant does not need to understand how any of the underlying technology works. They simply use the tools Shopify has built and focus on running their business. This is the foundation of Shopify's revenue model, and it starts with the subscription fee. Shopify offers several pricing tiers, each with a different monthly cost and a different set of features. The entry-level plan is priced to be accessible to new or small merchants just starting out. Higher tiers offer more advanced features, lower transaction fees, more staff accounts, better reporting, and additional customization options, and are priced to reflect the greater commercial value they provide to larger businesses. Merchants select the tier that matches their current needs and pay monthly or annually. This subscription revenue is predictable, recurring, and grows as Shopify adds merchants to its platform and as existing merchants upgrade to higher tiers as their businesses scale. But subscription fees are only one part of how Shopify generates revenue, and in terms of total revenue, they are not even the largest part. The more significant revenue stream is Shopify Payments, Shopify's built-in payment processing service. When a customer purchases something from a Shopify store that uses Shopify Payments, Shopify processes that transaction and charges the merchant a percentage of the sale plus a small fixed fee per transaction. The exact rate depends on the merchant's subscription tier. Higher tier subscribers pay lower transaction rates, which is part of the incentive to upgrade. This payment processing revenue scales directly with the total volume of sales made through Shopify's platform. The more Shopify merchants sell, the more transactions Shopify processes, and the more payment processing revenue Shopify earns. The financial significance of this is considerable. Shopify refers to the total value of goods sold through its platform as gross merchandise volume, the aggregate of every transaction completed across all of its merchant stores. As that number has grown into the hundreds of billions of dollars annually, the payment processing revenue derived from it has grown proportionally. Shopify does not take a percentage of gross merchandise volume directly. It takes a small percentage of each transaction through its payments infrastructure. But across hundreds of billions of dollars in transactions, even a small percentage produces very large absolute revenue. For merchants who choose to use a third-party payment processor instead of Shopify Payments, Shopify charges an additional transaction fee on top of whatever the external processor charges. This fee exists as a financial incentive for merchants to use Shopify payments rather than alternatives, and it ensures that Shopify earns revenue from payment processing regardless of which processor the merchant chooses. The structure effectively makes Shopify payments the default rational choice for most merchants, which concentrates payment processing volume within Shopify's own system. Beyond subscriptions and payments, Shopify has built an ecosystem of additional revenue streams that extract value from merchants at multiple other points. Shopify Capital is a merchant financing product that offers cash advances and loans to qualifying merchants based on their sales history on the platform. Merchants receive capital upfront and repay it through a fixed percentage of their future sales, automatically deducted by Shopify as transactions occur. Shopify earns a fee on the capital provided, and the repayment mechanism, tied directly to sales volume, means there is no separate collection process. The money flows back to Shopify automatically through the same payment infrastructure that processes every sale. Shopify also operates an app marketplace, a platform where third-party developers build and sell apps that extend the functionality of Shopify stores. Merchants browse the marketplace and install apps that add features their stores need: email marketing tools, review systems, loyalty programs, advanced analytics, subscription billing, and hundreds of other capabilities. When a merchant purchases a paid app through the Shopify App Store, Shopify takes a percentage of that revenue from the app developer. The marketplace generates revenue for Shopify without Shopify having to build every tool merchants might need. The developer community does that work, and Shopify collects a share of every commercial transaction in the marketplace it operates. There is also Shopify Shipping, which allows merchants to purchase discounted shipping labels directly through the platform and fulfill orders without needing to negotiate their own rates with carriers. Shopify earns a margin on the difference between the carrier rates it has negotiated at volume and the rates it charges merchants. And there is Shopify Email, Shopify Markets for international selling, and a growing range of other products that each represent additional revenue opportunities built on top of the merchant relationships the platform has already established. The reason this model works is the compounding relationship between merchant success and Shopify's revenue. When a merchant sells more, Shopify processes more transactions and earns more payment revenue. When a merchant grows, they are more likely to upgrade their subscription tier. When a merchant needs capital to expand inventory, Shopify Capital provides it and earns a return. When a merchant needs additional tools, they purchase them through the app marketplace, generating a share for Shopify. Every dimension of merchant growth creates a corresponding revenue opportunity for Shopify, without Shopify having to take any of the business risk that the merchant takes. This alignment of incentives is structurally unusual and financially powerful. Shopify's revenue grows when its merchants succeed. This gives Shopify a genuine interest in providing tools, features, and support that help merchants perform better. Not for altruistic reasons, but because merchant success is directly tied to Shopify's own financial outcomes. The platform and the merchant base are financially interdependent in a way that aligns their interests more closely than a simple vendor-customer relationship would. What makes this model scalable is that the core platform infrastructure, the software, the payment systems, the checkout flows, the dashboard, is built once and serves every merchant on the platform. Adding a new merchant to Shopify does not require building new infrastructure. It requires the merchant to sign up, configure their store, and start selling. The marginal cost of serving an additional merchant is very low, but the marginal revenue from that merchant, through subscription fees, payment processing, and potential use of additional Shopify products, begins accumulating from their first sale. As the merchant base grows, revenue grows without a proportional increase in the cost of maintaining the underlying platform. Geographic expansion follows the same logic. Shopify's platform works in any country where merchants want to sell and where payment processing can be established. Each new market is an extension of the existing infrastructure, not a separate build. International merchants join the platform, pay subscriptions, process payments through Shopify's systems, and generate revenue using the same underlying technology that serves every other merchant globally. What Shopify illustrates about the digital economy is a model that is increasingly common but rarely examined clearly. The most durable position in a commercial ecosystem is often not that of the merchant selling products or the customer buying them, but the infrastructure layer that both of them depend on. Shopify does not compete with its merchants. It enables them. And in enabling them, providing the tools, the payments, the capital, the logistics, and the marketplace, it has built a business that earns from every dimension of their commercial activity, from their first sale to their largest one. The stores belong to the merchants, the infrastructure belongs to Shopify, and the revenue flows from one to the other every time a customer anywhere in the world clicks buy.